Hello everyone, Mystery here, and today we are talking about the Arbites yet again. I know this is probably not going to be much of a surprise, and you're going to be hearing a lot more about it leading up to the release date on the 23rd, but hey, that's only like 2 weeks away, right? It's getting close. Today we're not focusing so much on the class itself in terms of gameplay implications or anything like that. We're talking more about the real world implications, the economics of the situation. Because as some are aware, and some still seem to be leaving me comments on the videos that aren't aware, this class is a paid DLC. It is $12, $11.99 to be exact, and it's Darktide's first piece of paid content. I say content because obviously there is paid cosmetics in the game, but you're not missing out on any maps or weapons or entire character classes by not having said cosmetics. You can play the game and get Havoc 40 without cosmetics. Well, I mean, it's easier with cosmetics, obviously, for obvious reasons. But the Arbites as a class is going to be $11.99, and I've seen a lot of debate about this. I've seen players saying this is too much, like, classes in Vermintide were only $4, or this is a slippery slope, like we're already paying them for cosmetics and now they want money for this too. And then on the other side, I've seen people saying, this is perfectly fine, like this is a lot of work they put into this and they deserve to be paid for their work. And not to, I don't want to beat around the bush and like hide my opinion till the end of the video or anything. I fall into that latter camp. I do think that this is a lot of work. Making a new class like this represents a ton of effort, and they do deserve to be paid. Full disclosure, I am not paid by Fat Shark at all in any way. I might get a free key for this, we'll see, but I am certainly going to spend more money on buying these keys and gifting them to my community than I'll be saving by making videos that glorify this. My only interest in Arbites being successful and it's selling well is if it does sell well, they'll make me another class. They'll make another DLC class. They'll make more big DLC like this, big content updates, because the financials will be there for them. And that just means more fun for me. More content, more just everything. More Darktide in general, which is a game that I love. So I do want to see it succeed because I want to see Darktide succeed. But yeah, I wish I got a kickback. Shit, I should ask for a commission. Anyway, let's chill out here. What do you get for $12 with the Arbites? Well, Arbites is the class, right? There's other stuff coming with the Arbites update that we'll talk about on the next slide. But for now, let's just talk about the class itself. This is the exclusive stuff that you have to pay $11.99 to get. You get the class right there, right behind the word class. This dude. He has 80 plus talent nodes, which I take to mean 81, right? Anytime anyone says 80 plus, makes me think it's like 81 or 82. Compare this to Ogren, which I've said multiple times, I think is the gold standard for talent trees right now. Very, very well done talent tree, excepting Point Blank Barrage, but hey, maybe they'll fix it eventually. That means you're only 2 points, or 2 or 3 points behind Ogren, who has 84 talent nodes. So I think that's pretty good, honestly. And if it's anything like Ogren's, there's going to be a lot of builds to enjoy here. Plus, just consider how different this class is going to feel than the Ogren to play, or any of the other classes, considering the implications of the dog, etc. We have also seen, based on what they've shown in footage and what they've told us in their content drops, that there are at least 3 new weapons coming. I can't promise more, I don't know, but we've got the like mace with the riot shield, and there's also like a shot pistol with the riot shield, and there's the big old boy shotgun, the Arbites shotgun that was featured quite predominantly in the trailer. So all those are coming to the class. I would have to imagine there's some more. I don't know, but like that seems like a very small number. But hey, maybe they are trying. At a certain point, right, you're going to struggle to find new ways to create weapons that don't have some niche that's already filled. But I do want to also stress that I think it's likely that some of these weapons will be usable cross-class. I'm specifically thinking about like the mace and shield. That seems like it would be a good fit for Zealot. And if that is the case, then you're going to get extra value if you're a Zealot player and you buy this class. You not only get to play this class, but now you have a new toy to play with on the Zealot too. So there's extra value wrapped in there. And then we've got your choice of 6 different character voices, right? There's male, female, of 3 different personalities. So, we can only assume, but one of them's got to be that gruff, badass guy who we saw on the trailer. So there's that guy who's like gruff and no nonsense. Then there's like probably a lunatic, and then there's probably like a really reserved one who's soft spoken but just a serial killer. And those personalities, voicing all that stuff. As a person who's been told many, many times he should get some sort of work in voice acting, they make bank, right? It costs a lot, and it's a lot of effort to create voices and personalities and stuff like that. This alone, the amount of effort alone to create this class and give it that fantasy and imbue those personalities into it, it easily justifies the $11.99 price tag. I'm certain that these people they have that are voice acting are on their payroll already, but that is a lot of monetary commitment to get all this work done. And then, of course, the dog, right? The dog is probably the selling point for many players. The dog is such a unique thing, right? It's nothing else in Darktide. Ogrins are big, but nobody else has a dog that's running around and doing stuff for you. So I think that on its own is going to sort of sell a lot of Arbites because it's so different. Even if it's not all that good, it's just something fresh and new. I like to think about, like, when Ogren was updated, you'd run into lobbies where like almost everyone was playing Ogren, like 2 out of 4 people or 3 out of 4 people were playing Ogren, but not everybody wanted to play Ogren. I think when this class releases, everyone is going to want to play it because dog, like it's so new. It's like something completely brand new we've never seen before. So that is what you get with the class. As I said before, there's also some other stuff coming out on the 23rd that has nothing to do with the $11.99 entrance fee. You get this whether or not you pay or not. So you get the campaign rework. What they're touting this as is an improved story, which, I mean, that's not saying much, but what they're doing based on my assessment and my readings here is that they are tying the missions together sort of with a plot thread. If you played Vermintide 2, those missions told a story. There were sequences of 3 missions that went together and culminated in one with an execution mission or a boss mission. And then once you'd completed all of those, it unlocked the Skitter Gate, which was the final story conclusion mission that you went and completed. And it was a pretty hard mission. So Darktide is sort of intended to have a similar experience, right? There's certainly maps that you're not supposed to run into very early, like canonically, Clandestine Gloriana doesn't fit in front of everything else. But the problem with the current state of the new player campaign, experience is that your literal first or second map could be Clandestine Gloriana, and then you're looking at this swagger guy and being like, okay, who the fuck is this? Plus, you have to remember that the only context players really get for what they're doing on any given mission is given within the mission. And that's something that they're going to really focus on here, which is there's going to be interstitial cutscenes. Well, one would have to assume there's going to be connective tissue between these missions saying, okay, we have now gotten the vacuum capsules, well, the ammo supply to resupply for this. Now we can advance into this sector and do this. And that will give the meanings behind our missions more context, because as it currently stands, there's almost no context provided outside of what you get from the chatter in the missions. And many times players, unless you're Joe Plays Games, you're going to miss that or ignore that entirely. And then for most players, this is probably the most interesting part. There's a new difficulty progression system. Now, this means the most for new players because new players are no longer tied to levels in terms of when they can access higher difficulties. I think this is going to alleviate a lot of headaches for players who are leveling, because when you are leveling, if you are a high-skilled player, right, say you get to level 4, you can now access Malice. But not every player who accesses level 4, meaning you've played like 2 or 3 games, can beat Malice or has any business being in Malice at all. You can get wrecked on that difficulty if you have no idea what you're doing. But something about like having that unlock, the game pushes you towards, hey, you should do this. That is no longer the situation. You no longer access Heresy at level 11 and I believe Damnation at level 14 or 15. It is now tied to have you completed the previous difficulty like 1 or 2 times. Okay, you have, now you can go to the next one. Which means for players who are on the struggle bus, they will be held back a grade proverbially, and they'll have to, learn the ropes a little bit better on those lower difficulties before they're matriculated up to the higher ones. But for players who are experienced, like for instance myself, when I'm going to be streaming my leveling of the Arbites class on the 23rd, I will start at that low level difficulty, but within 3 games, I'll be on Damnation because I'll have proved that I can beat the other difficulties. I mean, fingers crossed, maybe I'll suck by then. Maybe I'm washed out. The other really big thing with this difficulty progression system whole change up here is that they're now saying that any mission on the mission board is playable any difficulty. Now, that doesn't clarify whether or not you can just choose whether or not it's Auric or not. Whether or not to toggle on those Auric modifiers, I think probably not. But this still does hugely broaden the amount of missions you have available to choose from at any given time. It's not the perfect solution of just letting players choose from any mission in the world, but I get that they probably wanted to stick with their fancy UI they created for that system and not completely scrap that. So you'll get to choose any mission you want at any difficulty, which is cool because sometimes it can be very hard to find, especially if you play non-Auric maps, that if you're non-Auric, on that first panel, you've got everything from 1 bar all the way up to 5-star difficulty, and you might only see the map that you want to play in a difficulty that you don't want to play, and that's very, very annoying. So this will fix that up a lot. Okay, let's get back to talking about the class and the pricing, because that's the focus of the video, right? $11.49 is a price you can spend in Darktide already, and it will get you 2,400 Aquilas. So 2,400 Aquilas will then convert into a cosmetic outfit. Aquilas are only relevant when you're in terms of purchasing cosmetics, and these outfits, these fine outfits here, this is literally the first front page of the shop today. These are all exactly 2,400. So each of these outfits only comes with the chest, the head, and the boots, and no weapons, no accoutrements, no cosmetics, no little weapon dingle-dangles on there. And that is 50 cents less than this. Personally, this is just me personally, I think a whole new class with 3 new personalities, a bunch of new weapons to access, a whole new talent tree to peruse through, a literal physical digital dog, that is all worth the 50 cents extra over this. So if you're a player who has whaled out in Darktide before and bought yourself some cosmetics, I think the argument is really, really easy that the whole class is definitely way more value than these are giving you. So that argument is pretty easy to make. The argument that I'll make to sort of my more normie viewers who maybe have not purchased anything from the premium shop in Darktide, or like saying like Fat Shark doesn't, I already paid money for the game, they don't need more money, is let's just compare it to like real world prices, things that most people have, which is our subscription services. We live in 2025. We are fucking, blighted by capitalism, and we, have our marrow sucked out of our bones by Netflix every month. 1 month of Netflix, ad-free mind you, is $17.99. I think without ads it's $8.99 or $9.99. Hulu ad-free is $18.99. Jesus. And with ads it's $9.99. So you get to pay $10 every single month for the privilege of earning them money by watching ads. Yum. Prime Video, so you can watch The Boys and Invincible, and that's it, is $15 a month. Apple TV, which I think is probably the best value on here, is $9.99 a month. And ESPN is $11.99 a month, so exactly the same price as our Arbites class here, but remember, you only get it for 1 month. And of course, as many of you probably know, Pornhub is $15 a month. There are a couple other ways to get Arbites. You could join my streams on the day of release. I'm going to be streaming a fuck ton. I'm not like laying down like, hey, 24-hour stream or anything, but I'm going at least 10 hours. That's going to be some serious stream time. So playing with viewers, and also raffling's not the right word, but giving out keys, because this is a Steam purchase, so I can purchase this and gift it to people on my friends list, or just put the key out there and let y'all just fight over it. So if you want to test your luck, maybe you get a key to Arbites by doing that. I'm going to be buying at least 10 of these just myself to give out to the community, but I imagine that Fat Shark will probably be giving me a few more for my work as a community tester and a community content creator. Hopefully they can help me incentivize you guys to play the game. And I'll also be doing this for a few days after release as well. I won't like blow my entire load, so to speak, on the first day. So I'll save some in case you can't tune in that very first day. The other way to get a key to Arbites is to enter into the Mystery Arbites contest, which is to be announced soon. Once I have posted the details of what the criteria are there's going to be several different ways to win a Arbites DLC through this, and we'll be voting on your entries on the aforementioned stream, so that should be pretty fun. And if you are a existing Mystery member and you have been so for 4+ months, I believe there's about a dozen of you or so that fit this criteria, and you didn't see my community post earlier, please hit me up, email me and let me know if you're interested in me purchasing this for you. I'd be more than happy to do so. Giving back, you've given me enough that I can afford to buy you this and get back at you. And of course, you could always sell your kidneys. Okay, so do I think, in summary, that this class is good value for $11.99? I know I spoiled it earlier, but yeah, I do. And you really have to consider the amount of work that went into this. You not only have the modeling, the cosmetic design, the many cosmetic or the like concept art that must have been drawn up. Then you have the sound design for the dog, the weapons, the character itself. Then you have the voiceover for the 6 different voice actors that need to come in and voice their lines. Plus, you have all the different voice actors for the other characters that need to now talk about the fact there's an Arbites on their team, there's a dog running around. Like, that's going to happen. So there's a lot of work that goes into integrating and creating this class, even outside of just like coming up with the concepts and the talent tree and all that stuff. This represents a ton of work. This is probably the single biggest update I've ever seen them do, even though it seems small in like scope because it's just a new class. Where's the new maps and stuff? This represents a lot of effort, a lot of manpower goes into doing something like this. And personally, I want to incentivize them to do more big stuff like this. And so I am perfectly fine giving them money for it. Because the way I see it is we as the community, the players of Darktide, have 2 negotiation tactics to negotiate Darktide, to negotiate Fat Shark into doing the thing that we want, right? And the thing that we want is more content for Darktide. And when do we want it? All the fucking time. So how can we get them there? Well, we have the carrot and we have the stick. And in sort of my conceptualization of things, up until about Unlocked and Loaded update of last year, Fat Shark was primarily acting to avoid the stick. They were like, oh shit, our game is fucked. It's not what it's promised to be on release. And everyone is like, I swear to God, Fat Shark, if you don't fix crafting, I'm going to sue you. They were getting super serious about this shit because it had been broken for a long time. But once they got it fixed, now when we are trying to push them in the direction of what we want, more content for Darktide, more quality, juicy content for Darktide, I think the appropriate thing to do is bring out the carrot, because the stick only gets you so far, right? I know what some players will say. They'll say, oh, this is a slippery slope, right? You're teaching them the wrong lesson here. You're teaching them that they can triple dip, they can charge for the game, they can charge for premium cosmetics, they can charge for class DLC. What's next, right? I understand that fear, but I trust Fat Shark. I know that sounds silly, I guess, to some people, because some people are like, oh my god, they're owned by Tencent or whatever. But I've played Hearthstone, I've played League of Legends, I've played WoW. I know what scummy corporate behavior looks like when they introduce a new champion in League and it's the most powerful thing on the fucking face of the planet, and then conveniently it gets nerfed into the ground like one patch later. Or every single expansion in Hearthstone where there's just one or two cards that are one-to-one direct power creep upgrades over the previous ones, and now you can't even compete in the meta unless you buy the new expansion, and they aren't fucking cheap either. So I know what scummy corporate behavior looks like, and I don't see that from Fat Shark outside of like some practices in the cash shop. But for this specifically, for content, for like quality content like this, I will pay money, and I think it's setting a precedent of there being a player base who is willing to pay money for content and not just cosmetic stuff is good. Because what I would like to see for the future of Darktide is maybe twice a year, maybe every 2 quarters, we get a normal size update, like one map or something, 1-2 maps, and then additionally there's something really big like a new class, like a complement of weapons or something that you can pay real money for, because they certainly have been picking up the pace in terms of their content updates lately, and I think they can go farther. But I think we need to show them, like, there are people out there, a lot of us want more content for this game, and we will incentivize it with our wallets. So I think this class will be successful, and I really, really hope it pushes them to create further classes. I hope that they realize the Gene Stealer meme and make Gene Stealers and a whole new Hive City on Tertium be real. And if that costs $15, I think that's fair, right? That is a lot of content. That's an expansion for a game. And I do want them to try to strive for those bigger things, because I understand that we're 2.5 years on, right? The initial sales from the game are not probably funding anything anymore. They've got the cosmetic shop that funds some, but for a really, really big high effort project like this, I want them to feel secure that they aren't going to ruin their studio and lose money on the prospect of making a really big update, only for it not to pull in the players that it does, or that it needed to. Okay, anyway guys, that's enough rambling from me. I really appreciate y'all for listening. I hope you are all watching for the streams and watching for the announcement of the contest if you want to win one of the Arbites keys, and I hope to see you again very soon. Remember to like and subscribe if you have not yet, and I love you. Mystery out. Bye. Oh, and by the way, the queer facts for the day was that I love you. Okay, bye.